It's Real GM Radio. I'm here with Dieter Kurtenbach, sports columnist for the Bay Area News Group. My former colleague when I used to cover the Warriors over there.
Yes, sir. Yes,
One
sir.
of my favorites. To talk basketball, sports media, hot takes, really anything, mostly off the air. Because first time, Dieter, welcome to Real GM Radio.
Oh, I'm honored. It's a privilege and a pleasure, and excited to get into some of the nitty gritty here. This is the Wes and Dieter wheelhouse right here. Just wild conceptual ideas. I'm really excited for this one, Wes.
Wild conceptual ideas is a great way to put it. Also, maybe bad ideas, possibly.
None of these are going to be good. I mean, I don't think Adam Silver should write any of this down. But hey,
hardly
if you
thought through.
Speak for yourself there, buddy.
Whimsical, maybe even.
I love a bit of whimsy.
The theme of the theme of the show, fixing the NBA. A bunch of stuff that I want to get to with you.
Yeah.
We've got proposed changes to fix the schedule, 3-point shooting, All-Star, the draft. We're gonna hit all kinds of things here. But
a lot to fix.
There is a lot to fix, and I guess that's where we should start. Is Adam Silver recently acknowledged that ratings are down. Denied that there's a lack of interest in the league. He said the interest remains high, but the ratings are down. We've obviously seen what's the issue with NBA ratings. More part of the discourse, more prevalent than I think ever. We've got Bill Simmons doing like 30-minute monologues on his show. Dan Patrick doing big things about it.
Yeah.
It feels like this is more of a talking point than it's ever been. I was just watching Colin Cowherd, who's on the TV over here, and he's doing a whole bit on it too. So let's just start there. Do you think that the NBA has a problem?
Absolutely. I mean, it absolutely has a problem because I don't think it's part of the day-to-day sports discourse in America right now. I feel like it's becoming more and more of a niche product as the years go on. And this is something that both you and I identified, I think, years ago. I think that it became pretty clear that once the Warriors dynasty at its apex, the Kevin Durant aspect of the dynasty started to teeter off, and of course COVID follows not soon after, the league has been swimming upstream, if you will, and it's struggled to get back I know that they're very conscious of being part of the zeitgeist. They want to be on new frontiers in media. With the media landscape flattening out pretty significantly over the last 6-7 years, as we've seen the social media age dwindle into whatever the hell it is now, I think that they no longer have a foothold in the zeitgeist. And now they have to present an actual product that gets people excited. And at the same time, we've seen a homogeny in style and not I really hope this doesn't come across the wrong way, Wes, but you don't have American stars right now outside of the same American stars you had in the last iteration. And as great as that might be for the game holistically, it's pretty bad for the game when we talk about American popular culture. Who is someone to get behind? Has the Ant-Man taken over from Steph Curry or LeBron James or even Kevin Durant? Of course not. Now, maybe he can get there, but that's one guy. And you're thinking about, okay, Nikola Jokic, MVP, incredible basketball player. Guys like you and I, we love watching. Doesn't matter where you're from. Doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter how big you are. Like, if you're a great basketball player, we're going to be into it. But that's not who we're talking about here. We're talking about the casual fan. We're talking about my dad. Why is he going to tune into an NBA game? He did it when the Warriors were at their peak. He did it for peak LeBron with the Heatles. He did it, he's had reasons to for decades. I mean, going back 70s, 80s, he's had reasons to. And now I don't know what the reason would be anymore other than to see the old fading stars of yesteryear, which is what it is now. Not that that should make us feel old, but there's no one new coming in and taking the torch. And the best I can offer you, perhaps, is a Canadian, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who plays in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So the NBA absolutely has a problem, and I think that we have some solutions here that can maybe get this thing nudged in the right direction. But you're either getting better or you're getting worse. The arrow's either pointing up or it's pointing down. The reason that the mainstream media is getting in on this right now is because the arrow is clearly pointing down. And I don't know of anybody on this earth, and certainly in this country, that can present a reasonable case for the arrow pointing up for the NBA outside of, hey, we got young stars and maybe they turn into something here, outside of hope. And that's not really something you can sell.
The TV package is the first thing that the defenders will say is like, look at the ratings. Like, what does it matter? We just signed this big TV package. I guess is that a credit to the NBA, or is that more of a reflection of the changing times in that live sports is really the only thing of value to cable networks anyway, and they just sort of are riding this wave. Right. I had Mo Dakhil on the show last week or a couple weeks ago, and he's great. And you know, we kind of just we touched the sidewalk of this conversation a little bit. And he was adamant. He's like, the NBA is in a great spot. The problem is that people aren't talking about the on-court product, is that they're talking about all this other stuff. And while I don't disagree with that, it's not people's job to talk about that. It's the NBA's job. The NBA has a marketing problem, right? And it's their job to figure that out.
Wes, we've said that about baseball for 2 decades now. Oh, they have a marketing problem. No, they don't have a marketing problem, because this is not a problem that you can solve just with marketing. I think it's a problem you can create with marketing, though. And I turned to my wife the other day when we were just watching, I think it was even the NBA Cup. I just had it on in the background, and the intro to the NBA Cup, which we can get into the Cup a little bit later, was just the runway, right? It was, oh, let's check out the fits. And you think about the recent NBA app ad, and they're like, oh, the NBA, if you want to see what all of our players are wearing. And I got no problem with guys wanting to be fashionable and show off their stuff. Obviously, in the WNBA, they're trying to do the same thing too. That's great. There's certainly a subsection of people who want to see fancy outfits. I have a hard time believing that subsection has any correlation whatsoever to people who understand what a floppy action is and who want to watch watch high-level basketball being played by the best athletes in this sport on the planet. And the idea of one of the reasons that the NFL is king, and there are many, and we won't go into all of them, is that ultimately it comes down to something almost carnal. It comes down to a level of physicality that isn't replicated in any other sport. Every play is going to end with somebody having the living bejesus hit out of them. And at some root point of our nature, we really enjoy that. There is an animalistic instinct that is brought out there. Basketball, the rap on it now at the highest level, and I think it's trickled all the way down, is that everybody's just whining about the refs all the time, that they play soft. You even watch Inside the NBA, which is supposed to be this grand celebration of the league. What do they do most of the time? They complain about how there's no true big men and everybody's soft, and in this generation doesn't know anything. And then what does the NBA go and do to dispel that notion? Look at our guys' fancy outfits. Right. Let's do a runway show.
The side show has become the main show, and the whole. If there's not going to be value on the on-court product, or people aren't going to enjoy watching it, because I think they have
gravitating towards it.
They have a star problem. Certainly, there is no Tiger Woods. Heck, there's not even a Caitlin Clark in the NBA anymore. Right? That's not question. LeBron or Steph Curry.
Who is an American who is more popular right now that is under the age of 30 than Caitlin Clark?
In terms of basketball players, none. There is none. And you see how that's transforming them. But even beyond that, like when you're, again, Adam Silver, and you're saying, look, ratings are down, but interest in this metric and this social media and stuff, we are seeing social media split more than ever. Correct. These social media, like if you're a business and your whole thing is focused on, if you're a business and your whole thing is we're going to focus on social media, that is a losing effort. 100%. Because we don't know where social media is going. Despite the fact that you think you're direct to the consumer, you're not, because Elon Musk can walk in right away and just get rid of your platform.
Yeah, you're in a moment's notice. An algorithm.
Right.
You don't even know what's in the algorithm.
And so you're just riding this algorithm wave, and you need to get people to just tune in to your channel, to your product. So
what a concept.
Right? And this is the other thing too. If your consumers are telling you have a problem, you have a problem.
Yes. As Bill Hicks once said, the audience is a genius. Exactly. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that all the time as someone who
nor do
puts
I.
Out content.
Like, right? Yes.
I mean, there is something to be said. I think Steve Kerr would say there is some strength in numbers here.
Right.
When you have a sample size this large that's saying, I have no interest in regular season basketball because I know that it's a diluted, unnecessary product effectively. There's no scarcity. There's no urgency. I don't even know if I buy a ticket, if the guy that I want to see, you've built this league around stars, And yet I don't know if the star is going to be there because of
Right.
injury or just I might not play tonight.
And every time you hear that, the people that are defending the NBA itself will come to you with charts and graphs and say, actually, look, the
That
NBA has
gets
never
people
been better.
excited.
They're running away more. And it's like, no, I'm telling you, I don't care about your chart. I don't care about your graph. I don't like watching your product anymore. It's like going to a steakhouse and getting the steak and it's medium well, and you're like, well, I wanted it medium rare, and then the chef comes out and it's like, no, you don't understand. You like it more medium well. This is the way you should like it. And you're like, no, I don't like it this way. I don't want it this way.
It's an old adage, Wes. We've both worked retail. The customer is always right.
Yeah.
And no, they're not. But when you have this many customers saying the same thing, maybe you should heed their advice. And ultimately, the product that's being put on the court right now is neither innovative or interesting. It just isn't. And maybe sometimes players can do incredible things, but this is also a byproduct of being all in on social media, the way the NBA was for years. Okay, now, you reap the benefits. Now you got to sow some negatives, because why would I tune into a 2.5 hour game when I can just watch the highlight package on YouTube or Instagram? Oh, it's all about the one star. So why am I watching these other 4 guys on his team? Oh,
and
it's
I think
all about. Yeah,
I do think the on-court product is better than people are giving it credit for. I enjoy watching the NBA quite a bit. Also,
you and I,
yeah. I mean, of course.
Here we are.
I think so, right? Exactly. I do think some of it was just sort of the marketing arm of the NBA being all in on the stars moving on and off the court. Like you said, the fashion walks and all this kind of stuff, to the point where they almost were ignoring the on-court product a little bit too much, where they were trying to build up all this other stuff on the side. But whatever. I mean, now we're talking chicken and egg stuff.
It got great. It was so gravy there for a decade.
Yeah.
The on-court product was so
Took care of itself.
because the innovation on the court was constantly forcing the evolution of the game. So you always had something new and interesting to watch. It might have been brought in under the pretense of, player movement, but that stuff wears out. Right? Like, that was interesting when LeBron did it and he became this anti-hero.
14 years since the decision, and even 10 years since 9 or 10 years since Steph Curry broke the game of basketball. We haven't had major innovation on or off the court in a decade.
But all of those things led into each other. And by the way, we would have had this conversation before LeBron went to Miami, because we would have said, as much as Greg Popovich is really pushing the limit and doing some really interesting stuff, no one wants to watch the San Antonio Spurs play fundamental basketball. No one's into the minutia. You do need some star. There needs to be some pizzazz. You can have the best script in the world, but if no one knows the actors, they might not see the movie.
It's a great point, right? Like, we're almost in that era where, hey, look, like, this is efficient. Basketball's never been more efficient. The ball movement, and it's all crisp and everything like that. But it's like, sell me on it. Where's the sex appeal, right? Like, where is it? And with those Spurs basketball teams were some of the best teams we've literally ever seen. The sport has ever seen. Nobody cared. Nobody cared except for the diehards and people. I care. I love this stuff.
100%.
The casual fan needs to get looped in. So let's just get right into the meat of this conversation.
Let's do it.
One of the complaints right now with the casual fan is the 3-point shooting. It's too much. All these guys are taking too many threes. Yeah. All those things. Not here to debate whether or not that's right or wrong or whatever. But if we were to fix this, let's fix it. If the customer is always right.
Yeah.
The idea, the first thing that you keep hearing is we got to push the 3-point line back, A, and B, get rid of the corner threes. I know how I feel. How do you feel?
I'm willing to do anything to stop the threes. I think that the issue is, I'm not sure how far you can push it. That I think anything that is minor, anything that is not drastic, will ultimately have very little meaning. Because getting rid of the corner three, that's great. I think we'll just have a lot of above the break threes, because the math is fundamentally on the side of the 3-point shot. So, and it is so drastic now to where we're going to be approaching 40% of shots being threes, and a good plurality coming from people who should not be shooting threes as much as they are. If Steph Curry wants to shoot them, go to town. I don't want to see a center shoot a three again, unless it's an end of the shot clock situation, right? Like Karl Anthony Towns, God bless him. He's a hell of an offensive player. The box score looks great. I never want to see that ilk of player again in the NBA. You have been blessed with 7 feet. I'm sounding like Chuck and Shaq here, but like, what are you doing out there?
So two players that I think have become the avatar for this, at least in my mind, right? Again, this is a podcast born in sort of the world of efficiency and stat nerds. Like I understand where my base is, where the Real Jamie Radio's roots are. Okay, I get that. But
they get it though.
I hate that Anthony Edwards and Victor Wembanyama are taking more than 10 3-pointers a game, because now they have become like everybody else. What made Anthony Edwards exciting was the stuff that he was doing, like that Jordan-esque, Kobe-esque stuff in the mid-range, dunking above the rim. He's doing less of that. And I'm not here to argue. It's of course it's the right thing to do.
Yeah,
he's having mathematically the best offensive season of his career. Of course it's the right thing to do. It's also the boring thing to do. It makes me less interested. There was a Celtics-Wolves game 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was prime time. I was at TNT, I think. Yep. I was so excited for it. It was one of the few games of the regular season. I bought popcorn. I bought popcorn, Dieter. I went to the store. Like I did that.
Were you at the stove rotating it, or you just throw it in the microwave like a
microwave,
coward?
Man, come on. Yeah. I'll give me all the preservatives and the nasty chemicals.
Listen, I just bought literal Kraft macaroni and cheese, so you're not going to get me disputing the concept. Nothing else tastes like it. I need to have that little tang that it cannot be explained. But like, the game was
ruined. The game was ruined because it was just, I felt like, oh, this is just a math problem. The Celtics are just winning the math problem. And I wanted to watch Anthony Edwards just like go down the Boston Celtics. So I wanted to see Anthony Edwards take down the juggernaut. That's what I wanted to see.
Yes.
And I didn't.
You wanted some conflict.
Right, exactly. And it's not necessarily that I was rooting for Minnesota to win, although obviously I was, but more so I just wanted to see the conflict. And I didn't see it. Instead, I just saw everybody
in a vacuum. Yeah. No one plays defense at a high level. They're not really allowed to by the rules. And I understand that. We can maybe get into that. That might be a solution here. But when you have just two teams, the worst thing that happened to the league was somebody last year openly acknowledged the well-known secret, which is, hey, whoever shoots the most threes seems to win most playoff games. Mm-hmm. Now it's over. And now you have even the most, high-minded coaches being like, we just got to spam the three-pointer. Yeah. So what you've done now is you've taken an 82-game regular season where you have this diluted product because it's just about survival. Just get to the next game, get to the next game. And now everybody has the exact same formula of how they play that game.
And you
just shoot threes, shoot threes, shoot threes.
And you hear the coaches say this all the time. By the end of the season, the law of averages will average out and it'll play in our favor. I'm like, well, what about the opponent? Well, yeah, exactly. What about the opponent? It does kind of feel like, hey, we just do this for a few months and we'll end up over 500.
Yeah. There's no bespoke game plans. There's no, how are we going to handle this? No, we're just going to shoot a bunch of threes and they're going to shoot a bunch of threes. And hey, we're on the court at the same time. Isn't that fun, you guys? And let's go give some, let's go dap each other up at the end of the game. There's no conflict. Right. There's no reason to like feel strongly about the shield on there's no reason to feel anything about the logo. We have this issue in college football, which is a sport I love dearly, where with the NIL situation, it doesn't feel like anyone is actually choosing the schools. They're choosing the money. Mm-hmm. And in the professional ranks, I think this is why fandom has maybe paled in comparison to the ravage, just the craziness of college fandom, which is there's a baseline connection between players and fans, which is we both chose this team. Mm-hmm. We both have now a stake in it. We both like the same things or maybe different things, but we're both in on this team and we made that decision. There's an autonomy to it. In the NBA, you get drafted someplace, right? Oh, maybe you can sign with the team, but maybe then you don't want to be here and you get all of that. And you just end up in a situation where everybody is just getting through it and they're not thinking about the other team and there's no conflict. There's no reason to pay attention.
There's a way for the NBA also, at risk of going too far off the path here, of like you literally have fans on the court with you.
Yeah.
Like there's an opportunity to be connected to the fans. And I do think that, the one thing that the NBA does have is like the no helmets thing. We've all talked about this, is like there is a connection to the players do seem to be more engaged with the fan base, probably more than any other sport. And I think that is healthy. We could debate whether or not it's healthy for the individual players to be doing, but it's healthy as a business concept.
Yeah.
Back to my fix for the 3-point shooting is this is obviously the math problem also, is because the reason why they're taking so many threes is not because only threes are more worth more than twos. Mm-hmm. It's also because everybody can shoot it at a level now that again, that law of averages. So I think
it's
basically
not a difficult thing to do. If you get an open shot, you take it there.
Move the 3-point shot back. Move the 3-point line back. It's at 23 feet now. Let's go to 25 feet. 2 feet back. That way you have fewer Brook Lopez's taking threes, and you have more specialists like Steph Curry, Tyler Hero, Devin Booker,
well, you got
all these guys. Yeah, the good ones taking these threes, where the league average is going to come back below 36% from three. If you can get it closer to like 30, 31% among players, and then the stars are still at 36 to 40%.
Right.
Now that math doesn't really work anymore, because if you're not making a third of your threes on X amount of attempts, on like 100 attempts, then it makes more sense to go back into and try to get those 2-pointers.
You have a real problem when Draymond Green is considered a good 3-point shooter. Like, we all know that he's not.
What do you make? Like 4 3-pointers the other night? Like, that should never happen.
Man wears a backpack when he shoots.
Right.
His entire game is a throwback, and yet he's out there, and you're like, yeah, you want Draymond taking threes. That's how you know we're beyond the pale. I mean, at least Karl Anthony Towns is a good 3-point shooter. Let me take it to the next level. Okay. I agree with you on 25 feet. It should be 25 feet on one little minute portion of the floor. And here is the big, bold, radical suggestion. No more 3-point arc, 3-point line, like we're in the basement. We go hash mark to hash mark. It's about 38 feet in the corner, and it gets to 27 feet dead center. But everything under that, that's 2. You figure out what you want to do. But after you get across the inbounds hash mark, it's everything is 2.
I've seen this idea, and I hate it. And I'm going to let you I'm going to give you a chance to talk me into it, but I'm going to tell you why I hate it.
Lay it on me.
I love the corner 3. That to me is not a problem. I don't watch an NBA game and I'm like,
you need to make the court bigger now.
I think you just expand the I'm not the best at shapes or geometry, I'll admit that. But I think if you just make the 3-point line a little bit higher to the point where it's above the break, it's just extending out higher, like where that top of the arc is closer to the logo.
Yeah.
Then we're making the 3-point line deeper, but you keep the corners.
You can't fit a corner in there. I mean, if you got a size 16 shoe, you can barely get your feet in there. Like, think about how many dudes step out of bounds in the corner these days.
Okay, so then let's make the court wider.
Right. So you're going to have to expand the court width-wise, which now creates some more penetrating drive. Like, I'm all for making the court wider.
Because I like the corner 3 because it does, and I like it actually being shorter. I like that short corner because there is at least a strategic advantage to it.
Yeah, but now you've incentivized one area of the court that has nothing to do with the hoop. It's just the reason that corner 3 is there is not for any reason other than we didn't want to expand the court. Okay. So we have to now make this
expand
line.
The court and make it 25 feet all around, potentially, if that's possible. Again, not the geometry expert here, but just giving half-baked ideas.
So now the court has to be like 55 feet wide.
Okay.
Which is fine. But now do you want to make it 105 feet long instead of 94?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that.
But
I like the corner 3 because it makes a defender stick in the corner, which opens up those driving lanes. There's a strategic advantage to that. I like it. You can't just go to the corner and shoot. Like, you do have to do something. Like, you need to get screened to get there. It's an easy. It's closer to the hoop. Yes, which makes it an easier shot. It also makes it easier to close out to the corner. So there's strategic advantages to getting to the corner, and there's actual basketball being played to get to that spot, which I like. And again, you have somebody glued in the corner, you get more dunks and things like that. If you have that 3-point line, the basement style, you might not ever see a dunk in the NBA again. Like, because there's no incentive to go anywhere other than right in front of the basket.
Well, there's not going to be enough room. You're saying there's no incentive to pull people out of the lane, is what you're saying. Yeah, I buy that argument. That makes a lot of sense. So let me throw another one at you. Please. This is, I believe, a Kirk Goldsberry idea. Every team gets to draw their own 3-point line.
Home run, baseball, outfield style?
Ground rules, yeah. The record books are already shot.
I don't care about the record books. Yeah.
Right.
I'm glad you brought that up. Preface, don't care.
Whatever.
Don't care.
You want to make the 3-point line 12 feet and in? Go to town. Free throw line extended, like we're in 8th grade or 5th grade. Go ahead.
If you want to say
if you want to be the grit and grind Memphis Grizzlies and say no 3-point line, or I guess in this case the Rockets, no 3-point line, knock yourself out. That the rules coming in.
How do you feel about this?
I'm actually kind of in on it. I talked myself into it a little bit more. For like the Warriors, that's the team I cover more frequently than anybody else. Like that would be, they would do only above the break, right? Okay, that's great. And we'll make it like 27 feet. And we have one guy who can knock it down, and you guys go ahead and try to play that game.
Two sometimes.
Two at a point. And then the other aspect of this is something I'm really glad you brought up, which is like, how does the opponent fit into this? Well, now you have to have a bespoke game plan. And if teams aren't going to create bespoke defensive game plans, at least they have to have a bespoke offensive game plan, if not for the team they're playing, but for the court they're on.
So
like, now they have to think about it.
So I don't hate this. And today, my answer today could be a different answer than tomorrow, because I'm like right on the fence on this. Yeah. My problem that I keep going back to is, in baseball, you play baseball series. You know what kind of park you're getting into, and you have a plan, 2, 3, 4 games, whatever, how long the series is going to be. Like, I'm going to play 3 games in this park. I know exactly what we're going to be doing. In the NBA, you're playing in a new arena every other night. Like, these players don't even know what city they're in half the time. Like, if it was not for the logo on the court, they wouldn't know what team they were playing. Yeah. So if they're in a visiting arena, and you can tell. Watch,
you can tell.
So like I think that's too much. But let's put a pin in that idea, because I do have that relates to a schedule tweak that I have later on.
So let me throw out two more thoughts
on 3-pointers. Okay,
we get rid of defensive 3 seconds in general, and we get rid of the 3-point line.
Just full blown 1950s.
Here's the one I came. Anyone could chew on that as they wish. Like we go full back. Jerry,
everything's worth 2 or everything's worth 3?
Everything's worth 2. Okay. And the only way to get 3 is and 1. We just get rid of the 3-point shot. It broke the game. We can't fix it. It's a fundamental math problem. Everything is 2. I don't believe in that one. I do feel like there are aggressive, progressive solutions to this. Here's a new one. I literally had this 2 minutes before we came on the air. And I've been thinking about this, Wes. I'm not kidding. I've been thinking about this concept for the sake of everything else I do. I can't stop thinking about this. I'm so angry it came to me about 2 minutes before time, because you're going to have to hash it out with me. What if we allowed people to foul on 3-point shots? What if the 3-point shot was effectively harder to do because you're outside the arc? What if there was a different set of rules for what kind of contact you can make with the player, be it a hand check or, I don't know, you can hit arm or something?
High fives and hand checking?
Right, like something to that effect.
They're just allowed.
I don't know if the hand check is allowed, because I do want dribble penetration. I do want the ability to move in that environment. But like, you should be able to hack just a little bit. Like, there are levels and it's subjective, but like the incidental contact or maybe even like a soccer rule, like if you get ball, anything's fair. Like, because there's obviously contact under the hoop, right? And you're allowed a certain amount of contact under the hoop. What if we referee, because effectively a shot at the hoop is worth the same as a 3-point shot.
So we're going to rinse the James Harden out of the game, essentially, right?
Correct.
I like, and it's exactly for what you said. If the 2 most efficient shots in the sport are at the hit, at the rim and beyond the arc, then those both should be legislated the same.
That's right.
And if you're allowed a certain amount of contact at the rim, which of course you do draw fouls at the rim plenty, but there's just an inherent amount of contact that's allowed there. I'm okay with that. And I like exactly what you said. If you get ball, I don't care if it was hand first and then ball first then hand. Don't care. You get ball, you got ball, play goes on. Now, I do think that you have to have the safe landing zone. I think that's important for health reasons.
I get that. No, I understand that.
But okay, it better be real, though.
We were also fine before that, save for a few very clear examples, right? But the only reason that rule had to come in is because now 3-point shots were it became so obvious and everyone was shooting 3-point shots. So now we're going to have more and more examples of that. So what was a 1% chance or even a 1% of 1% chance of something like that happening now turns into, a much larger sum based on the numbers put out there. But I'm not sure about the ins and outs of how you would do that, but they absolutely should be viewed the same. And now you're also incentivizing mid-range shots. So shots in the lane and shots behind the arc are effectively legislated the same way with a certain amount of allowed contact. And shots in the non-painted inside the arc area, the mid-range, those have some protection towards them. And now you have more incentive to shoot mid-range where there's more artistry and craft, and it's not just chucking. That's no one wants to see chucking anymore. I love watching Kevin Durant take someone off the dribble and pull up from 17 with the fadeaway. That's a hard as hell shot, and it's impressive to watch it. And when you watch guys, and we'll get into this with All-Star Game stuff, I'm sure, play king of the court, they're not chucking threes and they're not going to the hoop. They're working the mid-range and they're showing off their artistry, which is what I want to watch when I watch the highest level of professional sports. I don't want to watch a math exercise.
Let's talk about end of games.
Yeah. I'm fine with it.
You're fine with the way that the games are ending right now?
I have no problem whatsoever with it. I think that the law of unintended consequences, or the rule, I'm not sure if it's a law, but the unintended consequences of changing the way games end is not, the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
The Elam ending, that stuff, too gimmicky. It's too much for me. I do have just some basic changes that I think should be made, because these foul offs, this whole thing of if you're a team and you're up 3, that the worst that should be the best version of basketball. It's a 3-point game in the final 2 minutes.
You get to hack. Now you get to hack. You don't have to worry about the 3 now.
Right.
You see, Les, I've already solved it.
It turns out to be the worst situation. If it's a 3-point game in the last 2 minutes, I'm dreading it, because if you're down, then you're fouling to extend the game, and if you're up, you're fouling so that you're fouling up 3 so that the other team can only take 2 free throw shots and they can't shoot the tie.
Yeah.
It's the worst situation, and it should be the best.
Again, another wonderful math situation that it's spoiling our game.
We got to get rid of it. We got to de-incentivize the foul with a team up or down 3, because both teams are literally incentivized to foul in the last couple of minutes there, and that's the worst part. And there's games all the time. We see this all the time, and these games just last like 15 minutes. Anyway, here's my thing. First of all, not necessarily related, but sort of related. Teams don't need this many timeouts. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
4 timeouts per game, 1 extra if it goes into overtime. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
4 timeouts.
Figure out your stuff. So let them figure it out on the court.
2.5 or just 4 overall?
The fact of 4 overall. 2.5. No, 2.5.
2.5.
2 plus 2 is 4 still, right? Yep. So
because you already have timeouts. Yeah. I mean,
and then the TV timeouts, the mandatory TVs in the middle.
NFL does 3. I don't see a reason that 3 couldn't be, that makes everyone feel better about it. You get 3. I mean, hockey has 1. Baseball has apparently limitless.
My thing is, if you can take a timeout just because stuff isn't going great, you have too many timeouts.
Yes.
It's like, they scored 3 times in a row, I'm going to take a timeout. That's not a reason for a timeout, right? So that's, I think, limit the timeouts. That's an easy one. I think everybody can get behind that.
Yeah.
Here's my major kind of change here. 2-minute warning. At 2 minutes, the game stops briefly.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Everybody gets to go to their sidelines. You get a minute. You get your TV, Taco Bell, Bud Light spot, whatever.
Yeah.
And then no timeouts in the final 2 minutes. We're done.
Okay.
Game's decided on the court.
Shoot free throws.
I don't want people shooting free throws. That's the other thing. In the final 2 minutes, you get new free throw rules.
Okay.
You get to decide if you're fouled. Number 1, wherever you're fouled, that's how many free throws you get. If you're fouled above the 3-point line, you get 3 free throws, buddy.
Yeah.
So now you're getting rid of that if you're up 3. No, if you foul me 25 feet away from the basket, I get 3 free throws now. Mm-hmm. So that takes away the incentive to foul while up 3. And then I also want, if you get fouled, you have the option, take those free throws based on your location on the court, or get the ball back. No free throws. You just retain possession, sideline out of bounds. And that de-incentivizes the...
I like that. That's a good one.
Right?
That's a good one.
Gets rid of it all. So no timeouts in the final 2 minutes. You get rid of the incentive to foul. Now, if you're fouled, it's accidental, and that's how a foul should be. And then go take your requisite free throws.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then the game ends. At the 2-minute warning, it's 2 minutes of basketball. Game over. Nope. And you have 1 minute as the coach to get everybody in. There's not going to be any substitutions unless there's a foul. So you kind of have to plan. These are my 5 guys. No defense, offense.
I'm not so sure about that one. I'm not so sure about the letting them play down the stretch, because I do like some strategy. I do like building up anticipation. I do think there's something to be said. I think that you've already solved the problem with the limited number of timeouts that the team has to begin with. And if you want to use all 4 in the final 2 minutes, they know. Like, it's overt. It's known. The being able to decline the penalty, that is so clean and effective. I'm angry it's not mine. I'm so jealous of that idea. That's such a good idea.
I love it.
Just be able to decline the penalty.
Yeah.
It still counts as a foul, but I can decline the penalty. In NFL, you can decline the penalty. I'd prefer the alternative. Now I'm not at the behest of whatever the defense does. I get to call my own shot. They want to hack me. That's fine. They can all foul out of the game. Go to town. Have at it. But I can decline the penalty. That's brilliant. I really like that.
All right. We finished ending games. Okay. What else do we want to get to? So the schedule. Let's schedule. Tell me, I couldn't come up with anything simple. All of my schedule fixes are insanely off the wall.
No, I got one.
All right. Give it to me.
October 1st to April 30th. That's 30 weeks. Okay. That's how your season goes. I don't care about you want to do preseason? Fine. You get 2 weeks at the end of September. You start your season October 1st. Okay. We did how many preseason games this year to build up to like October 23rd? What are we doing?
You don't said October 1st to what?
April 30th.
Okay. I had the same thing.
Yeah.
I had you have media day that first week. Yeah. The Monday or whatever that first week is. And then I think preseason, you don't need 2 weeks. Just do 3 half-assed games in 1 week. And we got your preseason out of the way. And then start. I had it starting the middle of October as opposed to the end of October.
No, you started October 1 and you get as much as you can because here's the deal. We're going to 72 games.
Yes.
Okay. We're shaving 10 off and I will help some teams out with we need the gate revenue. I'm going to help you out with the NBA Cup. But ultimately, we're going 30 weeks, 72 games. Wes, that breaks down to 5 games every 2 weeks. We're going to build some scarcity into this thing. We're going to go college basketball effectively. You're going to play a midweek game. You're going to play a weekend game. Okay? You go Wednesday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like, you figure it out.
So I had this too. We're on the same page.
Yeah.
Here's the NBA originally had a great idea. We're going to be date night. That was the NBA's whole conceit. It was the NFL, the ML, Major League the Major League Baseball is daytime.
Yeah.
You go with your pops. You go to the ballpark. That we're going to be date night. We're going to be cool.
Right.
And you know what's not cool? Monday night.
No.
Get rid of Monday night. We get 1 day off a week of no basketball. No Monday nights. Nobody's going out on Monday night. Nobody goes, it's a school night. Nobody going out. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If we need to build in those games, that's fine. But I'm also with you. 2, 3, I think 3 games a week is fine.
Tuesday and Wednesday are national TV games only. Okay. Now, this is, again, very easy to just come off of a notepad here.
Correct.
I know there's a lot of TV contracts that have certain rules. But you have the cup. I want to get into the cup. But like 2 games a week, now you have a reason to come up with a game plan. Now you have for each game, right? Now we're going to go hard because this game means something. Because we got it, we're thinking about it. And we can practice. This is a huge thing, Wes, you know as well as anybody. NBA teams don't practice. They don't have time. They don't have the bodies. They don't practice. They don't run through anything. So how are they going to come up with a game plan? Oh, we'll double team this guy. That's not a game plan. That's not a plan of attack. Again, they're just playing 2 teams playing basketball on the same court, having nothing to do with each other. I want to see some chippiness. I want to see some. I want to see something bespoke. I want to see something interesting. I want to see something that makes me think during a game. Like, how are they going to handle that? That's the beauty of the NFL. You can get it's anticipatory energy for an entire week, and then it pays off. I'm not saying you have to do a whole week, and I'm not even saying that 3 games a week is too much. But that's as many as you can do.
We agree on the scarcity part of this. Is let's limit the games. Let's limit the nights. Okay, I had this for later, but I'm going to do it now because you brought this up, the game planning part of it.
Yeah.
Double down on the baseball series stuff. The NBA has been experimenting with it. Here's my solution.
Okay.
Baseball has it right. 3 games against the same team. The problem with baseball is the sport's boring as hell to watch. Do that in basketball. That would be sick. That's the best part about the playoffs.
Are you talking about how many? 2 or 3?
You're getting 3 games against the same opponent every week, or 2. I don't know. 2 if it's out of conference, 3 if it's in conference, probably the way that the schedules break out, because you only play the out of conference team twice. So you get, and that's my other scheduling quirk. Enough of traveling to every arena in the league. Nobody cares about this. No, this was a thing that the NBA instituted years ago before League Pass and cable. There's no reason that you need to be in every arena.
It's a star league, and
You see them on TV. You see them on social media. They're everywhere. Nobody can afford these tickets anymore anyway. So who cares?
Well, maybe fix that part then. Maybe that's an issue. But
Fair enough.
I do think that you should be
every other year.
I think you should be somewhere. No, I think you should be somewhere every year. I do think that this league needs to figure out a way, and this is going to come across as anti-player, and I don't really care. It needs to be less about the players and more about the team. The team is the thing that stays in town. Everything else is fleeting. Players can be good one year and suck the next. If you're beholden to superstars, and the league has done more to foster this sort of idea than anybody else, and it's not certainly just them, but they leaned into it. If you make this entire league about superstars, you are cooked, because you got 30 teams, and if you don't have a superstar who may or may not even be good, but somebody who draws attention, if you don't have one of those, what the hell's the point?
And it needs to be about the strategy. And the NBA is always complaining, hey, nobody talks about the stuff on the court and the strategy part of it. And you already pointed out, and it's right. There's no practices. There's not as much strategy as you think there is in these game-to-game basis.
Yeah.
So
it's just systems. It's again, macro. Everything is macro.
Exactly. And that's the best part about the NFL is, like, we have a whole week about talking about game plans and soft points in this opponent's defense and whatever. You can have that in the NBA if you do these series, because in the playoffs, you do see these game-to-game adjustments. Coaching matters a lot.
Oh, it's huge. That's why we love it.
It doesn't matter.
Physicality ramps up.
Right.
And you get guys just being pissy at each other.
If I know if I'm the Heat and I'm getting 3 games against the Hawks on Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they're all here. I think you keep them all at home, and then I get 3 games in Atlanta a month from now or whatever.
So it's like you get a week. You get a week of a team.
Yeah.
So if you're playing out of conference, it's 2, and if you're playing in conference, it's 3. Right. That's how you get your 5 every 2.
Correct. And then I think, what would happen is, okay, wait, the Heat lost against Atlanta on Wednesday. What can we do to adjust so we can win on Friday night? And then you're still talking about, the Heat won the series 2-1. That's good, just like you do in baseball. Like, you're kind of thinking about that. Like, as many 2-1 series wins as we can get, we're going to build a nice record by the end of the season. But you do get now the coaching changes in the middle. Just double down on all of it.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. You have 30 weeks in a season. You play. Now, I mean, we can get into expansion or not. There'll be probably 32 teams. Honestly, you can get away with 31 at this point because of a 30-week schedule. In this scenario, to where you play you play every team once. Maybe you get rid of that. There's ways to do it. I wasn't the biggest fan of the concept of 3 games in a row, because if it's like, hey, it's Brooklyn Nets week, I don't know if that's going to get me, amped up. Maybe I do want a little bit of strange in my life, but I like it for in conference 3, out of conference 2. There's a cleanliness to that I can't get over. And ultimately this then I do think leads into a conversation about the cup, to where now you can get some of the more off the wall matchups, or maybe matchups that you don't see as often. Now it adds some level of intrigue and interest, because you're getting an extra game. Now, right. I just want to go right into the cup, unless you have something on schedule. Let
me just double check. Nope.
Because I'm stunned at how similar we were on that.
Yeah. And I do think that I feel very strongly about wiping out Monday Night Basketball. You get one night, everybody takes a deep breath, and then it's starting the week, and then you just look forward. All of your national TV programming will be based on not what's happening tonight, but preparing, kind of gearing up. It's like a Monday, or what's like a Wednesday football NFL. Right. Everything's like looking forward, breaking down schematics, all that stuff. Like Monday would be that day.
I'm not sure. I'm just not sure if that plays, because I think I understand the notion of taking a breath, but when you've already both stretched and reduced the amount of time and reduced the number of inventory, which is games. Like, you don't need the breather. You're going to have 2 days off between almost all of your games. The majority of your games, you're going to have 2 days off. So there is that built in.
Totally fair.
And then you get easy travel. So now you can travel and practice, or practice and then travel. Like, it's not just playing city.
Unless we made Monday like the like league-wide practice day or travel day, where it in the whole sort of media ecosystem can kind of.
So the tricky part too is you have to worry. I do think that you need to be reactionary towards the dominant sport, which is football. And I think you have to be reactionary towards both Saturdays and Sundays in the early portion of your season. So you need to highlight your weeknight aspect, which I think has to be Wednesday and Friday, maybe a Tuesday, because those are the days that you don't have football at a high level.
I think you can compete with Thursday Night Football. Everybody's kind of agreed. Nobody cares about that.
I don't know if that's true. I think the
That's
ratings
true. You know what?
speak pretty loudly
right.
in the opposite direction. I think Amazon keeps pumping up the money on that too. Also, you're in bed with Amazon, so you might need to...
Tell me your NBA Cup idea.
Okay. NBA Cup is a single elimination tournament now. Okay? And we're going to do it on holidays. Okay? So if it is a holiday, NBA Cup day. Let me lay it out to you. 32 teams. So we've already expanded Seattle and Vegas. It's happened. It's over. We have 32 teams. Let me pull up the exact dates here.
So we're talking like Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Yes. I had them. Now I've lost them. I could just do them off the dome. Here we go. Black Friday, 16 games. We're taking back the day after Thanksgiving. It's going to be NFL can't have it. We're doing 16 games. That's the entire first round of the in-season tournament. The
Everybody's
NBA Cup.
playing.
Everybody's playing from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. It's a weird holiday. You can make your jokes about it being Black Friday all you want. Two white guys, here we go. But like that is prime real estate of no one knows what to do with that day. We're claiming it. College football wants some of it. The NFL's trying stuff out. No, we're going all in on the day after Thanksgiving. 8 games on Christmas. So now we're into
the teams that the winners are now playing on Christmas. The winners
go play on Christmas. If you didn't win, you're out. You don't have any more games in the NBA Cup. Okay, so now the winners play on Christmas. The winners of those games play on either New Year's Eve or New Year's Day based on the college football calendar. So sometimes it's Eve, sometimes it's Day where they have their big games. Four games on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. 2 games on MLK Day. That is now the semifinals, and we're doing that in home arenas. Okay.
Were the other games being played in home arenas?
They're all in home arenas up until this point. And then we're getting rid of the All-Star game, and that is the NBA Cup final is being played as part of All-Star Weekend, and that is in a rotating city for the All-Star game.
Same city as the All-Star Weekend.
So you do Friday as the Cup. It's like the FA Cup final, right? And it's been single elimination, so you don't have this group play nonsense where no one knows if this game is real or not. It's just win or go home crowd energy, random draw, let's boogie. We're doing it on holidays. So if you want to play on a holiday, go ahead. If you don't want to be part of the NBA Cup this year because you got too many games as it is, ditch yourself out early, right? Well, you've got enough inventory on Black Friday to handle it. But then All-Star game, which I don't think will be on President's Day anymore because I think the Super Bowl is moving to President's Day in the not too distant future. But whenever you do that, whether it be where they would normally do the Pro Bowl, so I guess it'd be the week before President's Day, you go, Friday night is the big media night. Saturday, you still do All-Star Saturday, which I believe should only be All-Stars participating in the All-Star events. I don't need to see Mac McClung again in my life. And I believe every NBA GM has made the same claim. And then Sunday, you have an actual basketball game with money on the line. That's your All-Star game. It's the NBA Cup final, and it's in Indianapolis or Chicago or Seattle or wherever. It's not in Vegas every year. It's in a city that's part of the All-Star game situation. And then you get this. It's like the Final Four in a way, but except 2.
So I don't hate this at all. I like maybe that first round on Black Friday, the 16 games.
I want quad boxes, baby.
I want home court. Like home court might be decided on last year's record, and then it's built into the schedule already. So like maybe there's some tie-in or something there. I don't know. How would you determine? Just a random draw for home court?
I want this to be the exact same as they modeled this thing after a European soccer tournament, and what they did was they created just an unholy monster of all of the international soccer tournaments where it's like we'll do some World Cup and Champions League, but also knockout round. It's like no, it's one game for all the marbles, win or go home. No more games after. We're not scheduling games on the back end because, they lost. So now the Mavericks are going to play the Warriors on Sunday. Like, we're not shoehorning anything in. You can play, in this case, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can play a total of 77 games in a year, or you can play 73. Maybe that's just how it is. But you have a cup. We have enough time because we've now both stretched the schedule out time-wise and limited the inventory to where you can't get, you can't be like, well, I don't know, how are we going to practice for the cup? Like, no, there's some weeks that's a 2-game week. Your cup game is part of that.
If we add your idea to my idea where everything's a series and then this is just one-off knockout rounds, it does feel much different now. It's a little exciting. But
think about it. Think about the joy of think about just how exciting a Game 7 concept is. Okay. And of course, it's not a Game 7 of the playoffs. It is different, but it's as close as you're going to possibly get. It's win or go home. It's on. You just got random draw, right? Hopefully the game's at home. That's how they do it in England. That's how they do it in it is what it is. And it's a holiday, right? So you have that inventory built in, and it's a hell of a television product to sell because you're going to have, especially on that Black Friday, you're going to have six games a window where you can be bouncing around. It's going to be like the NCAA tournament for a day.
I like this. I think if the NBA were going to push back, it's like, well, we already do stuff on these holidays, so we don't want to cannibalize the product we already have on MLK Day. I guess my pushback would be nobody cares about that stuff already.
Right.
So
the Christmas Day games only matter to the teams that don't get asked to do it.
Right. Exactly.
Everyone else, it's a burden.
Right.
Make it something that is awesome and unique. And by the way, it's now tied to holidays. Like, hey, this is a big deal. And
I'm even okay with leave Christmas Day. Okay, the people that were in the finals, big markets, Madison Square Garden is a character on Christmas Day, but maybe do this on Christmas Eve. So now you have Christmas Eve and then the Christmas Day. It might get a little
that's a little
to play both.
That's now the schedule. So this is why
I like it. I like the idea. I like the concept. Needs a little. I'm sure there's some things that we're not thinking about that need some fixing. But
I'm pretty sure the entire $1 billion league contracts prohibit all of this. But
Who cares about that?
I'm sure there's also some force majeure that can be registered in that.
I have some all-star fixes.
Let's hear them, because anything will do.
I don't hate the round robin format.
Okay. Do you think they're going to play hard?
I don't. I think they did it all the wrong way. I think it's a nightmare of an execution. The concept, the very base, like, hey, let's just do 4 teams of smaller teams.
I've seen it happen in hockey for the last 6-7 years. It's changed nothing, and now they're begging to go back to.
Why is one of them the Rising Stars? That makes no sense to me. So you get one of these teams essentially gets a bye week randomly because they're going to kill the poor rookies and sophomores. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Or the worst case scenario, they don't.
Or best case scenario. Here's what first of all, these 3 teams of 8 makes no sense. Why do I have 3 guys on my bench? Do 4 teams of 6, and that's a real roster. You have your starting 5 and your 6 man. That makes sense. I've got a small ball option. I've got whatever. I don't need Charles Barkley to be drafting a team. That makes no sense.
I didn't even catch that part.
It's
the inside the NBA guys draft the teams.
Yep.
Except Ernie, because he has journalistic integrity.
He's not doing it because he's journalistic. And then Candace Parker they just handed her the Rising Stars, which is
congrats.
That's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's like
Black Friday into blatant sexism.
A woman doesn't get to choose. Go figure. Like, it's ridiculous. So
you would think that would change. We're going to be in California this year, but now we're a little bit too deep into the weeds on Real GM Radio.
Yeah, we could have just let that one go.
We could have, and you can still edit it out, buddy.
And I won't, because that's a lot of work.
Not as much work as trying to save the All-Star game.
Right, that's true. We are doing all right. Have the 2 top vote getters in each conference, the players, as captains. Done. Easy. All right.
Already done
LeBron,
that, yeah.
Steph, Giannis, one other player in the East. That's it.
Okay.
Those are your captains. They pick a team of 6.
Okay.
Normal snake draft style, nothing crazy. You could do it on TNT. You could still do the whole thing. That's always fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Can
I throw in a draft thing? I think it's absolutely egregious that they have done the draft as some separate thing. You need to have everyone line up on the baseline, and we draft that way, the way that every basketball game has been drafted ever.
Right.
You pick, and you get a jersey when you show up, and you stand next to the person that just drafted you. That's how you draft.
That's how you do it. And then you only get to draft from your conference. So Kevin Durant, you're going to get your wish. It's still going to be East versus West. You only get to draft players from your conference.
Okay.
So now you've got 2 rounds. You got the first round and the final. That first round is going to be the East team 1 and East team 2, and then the winner of that advances and then West 1 versus West 2, the winner of that advances. The team that advances gets to pick one player off of the team they just beat, and now you have a
definition of you're doing too much. It's not. This is
awesome. What are you talking about? This is great.
I don't disagree that this is a really good concept.
I haven't finished.
Okay.
One last thing. First 3 minutes of every game, and I don't. You could score it to 20, 40. I don't care.
Okay.
Whatever the TV needs to make it as long as it needs to be, but not
scoring.
longer. First 3 minutes is make it take it clock.
Okay.
It's a make it take it clock. Because now the problem that we're going to have this year, I'm telling you, is it's going to be Civil War style. You shoot, I shoot. And then it's going to be the last 10 minutes of whatever we're trying to get to. And then we'll start playing defense.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same thing as every other All-Star game. But if the first 3 minutes is a make it take it clock, then you could conceivably be down like 12 or 15 points in 3 minutes if you don't D up.
Yeah. Pride kicks in.
It's like, I haven't even touched the ball yet. The one thing these All-Stars want to do, touch the ball.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
I don't
why
even get a
Dame
chance to
Lillard
shoot.
has to fire from half court because someone's going to get the ball and he might not get it back.
Right.
So I'm just going to shoot it from here, which is just petulant childhood stuff. But Steph Curry, equally egregious on that front. Here's what we're doing. Again, I don't want any All-Star game. You made the All-Star team. Congratulations. You have to show up and do something cool for everybody, whether that be a dunk or something, a three-point shot. You got to do something on All-Star Saturday night. That's fine. And then we're going to do the cup game as the main game. But I had it here for a second. The make it take it thing is great. We're going to do a King of the Court on Saturday night. That's the All-Star game. That is a viable, if not exceptional, television product. King of the Court. That's what we're doing. That is the pinnacle of the All-Star Saturday night.
I like it. My other fix for the dunk contest.
9-foot rims.
Like you said, nobody wants to see Matt McClung anymore.
No.
You want to see the stars dunking.
We have to keep Doug Kurtenbach in this conversation. I don't want to have to explain to my dad everything. That's why we can't do your system, Wes. That system only works for dorks like us who like have them. We're just like, okay, so the first 2 minutes, the make it take it's a great idea. I like that. Maybe we just do that for the entire All-Star game. Make it take it. And we turn it. Maybe that is
the wackiest part of it. It is the only part that's hard. Like. It's the only part that's hard to follow though for Doug Kurtenbach.
No,
everything else
that
is
so simple. You know why?
Yeah.
You turn it entirely into a pickup game. You draft off the baseline, and then when my dad goes, "What the hell are they doing?" and I go, "Let's make it take it." Immediately knows what that means.
Yeah.
Instead of first 2 minutes, and then the fourth minute we're going to go into this, and then here's the Elam ending.
No, you'll have like a big no Elam ending.
But
you'll have
like
a big clock, and it'll tick down, and then boom, no more make it take it.
I want no need for Chiron. I don't want to have any words on the screen other than Team A, Team B, and score. Like that's it. Make it take it. Play to 21. That's it.
Dunk contest fix.
Dunk contest fix. Thank you. I don't want to have to explain who Mac
literally
is anymore.
It's part of the All-Star game.
Oh.
You have a on-call panel. They're in the arena. Every time somebody dunks in the All-Star game, it's given an immediate score 1 to 10.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
That way we have no pre-prepared dunks that you get to miss 4 times and make it on the 5th try, and then we have to pretend that the other 4 didn't happen.
Right.
It's in-game dunks, which are always way cooler than dunking a basketball off of a drone.
Yeah.
And it's not Matt McClung because he didn't make the All-Star game because he ain't good. Right. You got LeBron James in the dunk contest finally. You get John Morant in the dunk contest finally. You get your stars dunking on other stars.
Yes.
And here's another idea that somebody told me as a counter to this.
That's a good
we also get a block champion. So you got a dunk contest and a block contest. So this one is a little too wacky, but like if you get a great block on a dunk, then you can also get a 10 out of 10 on your block. But the dunk contest is part of the All-Star game.
Yeah.
No, and then at the end of the All-Star game, you get the winner of the All-Star game. Congrats, you won the All-Star game. Doesn't mean anything.
If we're doing make it,
and then you also get the winner of the dunk contest.
If we're doing make it, take it, is it full court or half court?
I think go half court. You have the space. Use it.
Really hard to get a dunk contest in there. It feels like
but you get the run. Think about that runway for Giannis, man.
In a half court. That's what I'm saying. Like you need.
Unless we do the 2 pickup games going simultaneously, both of them in one half of the court and the other one.
I love both of those ideas. I think I like make it take it more. And even though that is an exceptional solution to the dunk contest. I think that they're mutually exclusive concepts in order to get the maximum value out of both.
That's fair.
So 2 half-court games happening simultaneously with make it take it rules. That's good stuff.
And like a concert right in the middle on the logo, just at Rick Ross doing his thing in the middle, just maximalist. Just
what is Rick Ross's thing right now? You're the Miami guy.
I talked to him the other day.
Oh yeah, how's Rick doing?
He's doing great.
Yeah,
big Heat fan.
That is, I will say this: if you lived in South Florida long enough, as you grew up there and all that, I lived down there for about 5 years. You end up just talking to Rick Ross at some point. So, I was around fat Rick Ross. I'm glad that you got. How's he doing on that journey right now? Is he doing okay?
I'm not going to body shame anybody.
No, I mean, listen, he's never going to be a small man.
He is.
He's thinner than his maximum.
He's looking good.
Good. That makes me happy because he was a very pleasant
he looks
man
healthy.
To
he looks like he's a king. He looks healthy like a king.
I love it. Because
I know you have a grab bag of other things that you want to get on.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's talk about playoffs.
Let's talk about the playoffs.
Here we go. We're making the play-in tournament even bigger. We're now going double elimination, single win. We're taking teams 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and we're tossing them into a blender.
Wow.
So if you make now, there's more incentive for first round. Right? First round home court advantage. You go 1 through 4, you get a week off. You go do whatever the hell you want. You get healthy, you get rested up. Because we're gonna go 5, 7, 7, 7 after that. But you're gonna be sitting pretty in that first round where health does matter. 4 teams automatically through. The other 8 teams, put them in the blender. Here's how it's gonna go. First round of the play-in tournament, you're gonna get a bye for the 5 and the 6 seed. Okay? They're waiting. They've already gotten a win. So it's 2 and you're in the case of the play-in tournament, and then 2 if you're out. So double elimination, double victory. So both the teams 5 and 6 have a bye. That means they've already gotten a win under their belt, in essence, in this tournament. So 7 and 10 are going to play each other. Winner takes on number 5. 8 and 9 are going to play each other. Winner takes on number 6. Okay? Winner of that game, 5 and 7 or 10 and 6 and 8 and 9, they advance in. They're now the 5 or the 6 seed. Okay?
So the regular season means more now.
I would, yes, and perhaps no. I mean, yes, because the number is still the same.
But you want to get a top 4 seed now.
100%. We're creating some level of advantage to finishing well in the regular season. I'm willing to talk it all the way up to 2. Like anything to get the best teams that are the best to play their best. The last thing that we should want to see in the NBA these days, in any sport, is the teams that have the capability of being the best in the regular season not playing their hardest in the regular season. All that does is tell everybody that this doesn't matter. That is the Warriors. That is the everything. Oh, we'll just be the 3 seed. It won't matter.
Right.
Well, and by the way, the repercussions have never come. They have never had to reap what they sowed in that regard. It's always worked out for them because they're right.
I like the top 4. Every champion has basically been a top 4 seed. I think that's a good historical benchmark, and just like, yep, top 4.
And you have home court, like the notion of home court advantage. Like, what the hell do you care in the first round? Well, you should care in the first round because now it comes with rest and certainty on where you're playing your first 2 games.
Okay.
So
I'm glad you said this. You're expanding it up the standings as opposed to down the standings, which I like.
That's right. Yeah, okay. I'm willing to go to 8. Come back up and not get the 10 in there. But I do think I do think 7, 10, 8, and 9, like those are all pretty much the same. Yeah. Right. There's not a lot of separation between those 2. And that's like one twisted ankle. Should that be a true separator? But there should be a clear line of delineation between 1 and 4. And I think 5 and 6, the current teams that make the playoffs regularly, should get some benefit too. There should be some advantage to, hey, we only have to win 1 game in the play-in tournament as opposed to 2 in order to make it. And then, of course, every other team would need to, if you win 2, you get into the play-in tournament, or you get into the actual playoffs, and we do it 1 through 8, and we go back to 5 in the first round so that there's a little bit of fear because, hey, why the hell do I need 7 games?
That needs to happen.
If by the way, the team that is hosting, at least games 1, 2, and 5, if that team that was hosting, if they just had a week off and you might have had to play 4 games to get into this thing, or I guess 3, like, why you already have an advantage. You should have a massive advantage. This isn't baseball where you can fall out of rhythm and you actually have to play every day. Like in basketball, you want the rest.
Right.
Like you'll figure it out within the first half of game 1.
5 games, games 1 and 2 at home, 3 on the road.
I'm willing to talk. I think it's 2-2-1.
2-2-1?
Yeah. It's not a great advantage. I was considering going back to 2-3-2 in the semifinal round, the conference semifinals, but ultimately I think there's
why don't they all just get played they're all played in one arena. They're all played at home. Sorry.
So baseball does that with the first round. It's 3 games. I'm willing to discuss it, but I think the 5 games is fine, and it brings up the possibility of like a big time game 5. Right? And if you're a top 4 seed, you get the rest. You should be as healthy as you've been all year. Like that's a huge aspect of it too. Like I just think that advantage is enough to sort of
And you need to play something on the road. I mean, the owners would never like they're like we want the money.
And you can also even do the play-in tournament. Like I'm willing to hear it out as to maybe there's some neutral site aspect to it. Not easy to do, but if you're going to try to jam a bunch of games in here, over the course of a week,
if you're taking games away in the regular season, you got to get all these in terms of like gate revenue as you can if we're doing that.
This sells. So you get cup games, and now there's some additional play-in tournament games that are in there. That's really all I have on the playoffs.
Great. Anything else? I mean,
stop doing. Oh, okay. How about the draft?
All right, let's do the draft quick.
Okay, we're going to go to the wheel. I don't know if anyone out there knows the wheel. I'm sure this audience more than anybody else would know the wheel.
This audience probably knows the wheel.
The Zach Lowe made famous wheel. Shout out Zach Lowe. The wheel is 32 teams. You get one of 32 picks once every 32 years. You know your position for the next 32 years, in effect. And your draft position is not based on lottery. Your draft position is based on a very clear document that everybody has. So hey, we have the first pick in 2041. Act accordingly. I just feel like the certainty with that, in addition to, I think we only have one, I think we go back to only one tax line, and I don't know the ins and outs of someone who's more of a capologist than I, but I do think that the 2 tax lines that have been put in and the limitation on aggregating salaries and such is going to become a net negative. It's like laughable how little movement we're going to get at the trade deadline. And I feel like trade deadline stuff is much fairer intrinsically, and fans can get behind trades more than they can get behind free agency and the sign-in trades and stuff like that. I don't want to have to be a capologist to understand how trades can be made. It should be money is money.
They've added too many layers on top of this. It's way too complicated. It's absolutely riculous. And you're right. You've cannibalized a big day of your year, which is the trade deadline, by not cannibalized. You've eaten it. And
you've eaten it, but beyond that, you've eaten months. Because from the 15th to the trade deadline, that is trade season.
Yeah.
And the NBA is reaping what it's sowing with that, where it's all about player movement and who's going where. That's fine. And now all you've done is
too much of an overcorrection. Yeah.
Correct.
I'm with you. And we're not there yet where because people are still like the trade articles and the trade content and everything does really well, but we're going to get to a point, if this is what we're doing, where it's not going to do well anymore, because people are going to realize there is no trade season.
But we haven't gotten to the point that we know that yet. Gets traded, we have a real problem. Like, I don't think Jimmy Butler gets traded. I don't.
That's the thing. It's going to be very hard.
And that's as good as it's going to get. Like, we're not talking about the big time thing. One more thing.
Okay.
They do this in hockey.
By the way, I hate the draft wheel. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it.
No, that's fine. I think the certainty of the draft wheel prevents tanking.
So tanking to me isn't a problem anymore.
Why is it that the same goddamn teams, sorry to curse it, I'm sure about the rules, but like, why is it that the same teams are always drafting high? Well,
it's like Arizona. The Cardinals are in the top 10 in the draft every single year in the NFL, but nobody somehow the NBA is the only league that has a draft problem. Nobody talks about this in any other sport. The bad teams are just the bad teams.
But this is a sport that's more predicated on star power than any other sport, because there's fewer, 8-9 man rotations.
So give the bad teams stars until they get it right.
Yeah, but now you have an issue of I think a perfect example is this season. Who are the best teams in the NBA this season? Oklahoma City, Milwaukee's playing well. You look at the best of the best. Where are the big market teams outside of maybe the Knicks?
Oh, Boston.
Boston. Okay, fair enough. Boston is a big market. But like, you run into the issue of, I don't think that parity plays when you when all teams are big time. But when
You know
there's
what's funny is that the leagues that have parity, like the NFL and Major League Baseball, do cartwheels when you get LA Yankees, with Dodgers Yankees in
Correct.
the World Series. And the NBA for a long time got those big markets all the
Right.
time in their playoff series. I don't
think
know
that
why they wanted parity so bad. I'm not here for parity.
forgive me for thinking that every market should be a representative of its own people. And if you want to have an owner that wants to spend crazy money, I don't see a reason why you shouldn't be able to do that. Now, we can get into the cap stuff is going to be beyond my wheelhouse, but I do think that they've gone way over the line. If an owner wants to pay $6 to the dollar to put the best team out there, go ahead. I would try to be more like baseball. And you see now in baseball, it's these big market teams that are doing it. And then you have to create an evolution on the lower levels. How do we play as well as these guys who have all the stars? Well, we got to come up with some other way to do it. I think that's good for the league because, hey, it's the real world, baby. There are haves and there are have-nots. One other idea, this is the weirdest one I have. In hockey, the rule is it's not very well adhered to. Unless you have a letter on the jersey, you can't talk to the ref. So it's a captain, and if the captain can't be on the ice, then it's the alternate captain. But that's why they wear letters on the jerseys, at least ostensibly. I would take up a captain system and an alternate captain system. If you don't have a letter on the jersey,
else.
yes, and and to the point where I wouldn't even do a technical foul. I would get rid of technical fouls for dissent. I would go yellow card, red card. Warning, and you're out. I don't think it should count for a point.
Right.
And I think that they'd be a lot more free flowing if it was, hey, you got one, I warned you, and the next one I'm throwing you out, or or you're out for the rest of the quarter or something.
Don't hate it. Don't hate it.
So, but I think that the ability for everybody to surround a ref and go it's ugly to watch and it's unprofessional.
The captain thing is a great call. I'm all for it because like they would just make Chris Paul the captain.
That's fine.
He would demand it, but that's fine. It wouldn't also be the other three players. Yeah.
There is a level of nuance and enjoyment to watching a referee and a player who hate each other go at it. Like there's something there, but at least it's dictated, right? If you want to make Luka your captain, that's fine. Good luck with that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, go it. At least it's designated. At least we know that's the only guy who can do it. No one else can come to Luka's defense. No one else can be bitching like Luka's bitching. Like Draymond, same thing. You want to make him a captain? That's fine. Now Steph can't go to the ref.
Right.
Because Draymond's the captain.
This I love. This is genius.
You only get one guy who gets to complain to the ref.
Love it. I love it. And yeah, you're right. You probably need one other guy, alternate captain. Maybe it's just, hey, here's the armband.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the armband, but like I feel like
something.
I feel like it should be preordained where you get two captains.
When you check in, right? They say like, hey, I'm checking in for him. I'm also the captain for this stretch until he comes back in.
Yeah.
That's it. Maybe. When you do it at the check-in table.
Well, you just have a little table. Everyone gets a little Velcro and you just put on your little patch.
Right.
There's something to it.
It's
like, I don't know, wristband. Yeah, maybe it's just a sweatband instead of a wristband. Or
just do a headband.
Bring
headbands back. Two birds.
There we go. There it is.
Two birds.
And you look like a doofus. You're not only complaining to the ref, but that's the thing. Maybe you have to wear a little hat with a little spinning wheel on it, and then you get to complain to the ref.
It takes a little bite out of the complaint.
Yeah, you just look like a doofus.
Last thing I have for you, Dieter, and you and I talked. You probably don't even remember this. I texted you this idea as a radio segment. Years ago.
Okay.
It's called the hot take wheel.
Okay.
Do you remember this?
No.
I don't think you do. Okay. It's the hot take wheel.
I live it.
Right. I know you're great at takes. You don't know. I've got 5 or 6.
Oh, are we going to do the hot take wheel
right now?
Oh, this is fantastic.
It's not actually a wheel because I don't have that. I don't have that.
And also I heard that you're not a fan of the wheel.
I like the hot take wheel. I don't like the draft wheel. So two different wheels.
Okay. It's more of an obelisk.
So I've got 5 subjects.
This is such a great segment.
And you're just going to give me your take on that subject. And it's it's general. It's just, but I know you probably have a thought about everything is the point. And so you definitely have a thought on all 5 of these, but you're going to give me a number 1 through 5 right now.
4.
Christmas.
Okay. I very clearly, the premier holiday, the goat of holidays, if you will. I got to say, I think that much like the NBA calendar, the constant expansion and the filling up of space, I live with a Brit. My wife is Scottish, and they don't have Thanksgiving. And because of that, Christmas starts earlier and earlier every year there. And we just sort of gave up on Thanksgiving. Now Thanksgiving is some sort of preseason for Christmas, and I'm not for it. I think that we should have one rock solid month. It's the way that we did it back in the day, Wes. This is some good Midwestern fun. The day after Thanksgiving, that's when Christmas starts. I don't want any deals. I don't want anything. I want fall, and then I want winter. I'm not, especially too with the calendar shifting to where I don't know if we ever get a fall anymore. You don't. You live in Miami. I live in the Bay Area. We don't understand seasons like people. But like as winter creeps later and later and later, let's have a clear delineation in the seasonal holiday calendar towards, okay, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. I want 1 month for each. I want all of October to be Halloween. I want all of November to be Thanksgiving, save for the final few days or wherever it falls in the third week of Thanksgiving, third week of November. So whatever you got left. And then I want the rest to be Christmas. I think having a little bit of anticipation will make it all the better, because right now I'm kind of Christmased out and we're less than a week away, buddy. I'm already Christmased out. I can't do it anymore. So that's where I stand on it. It's still the GOAT holiday. And frankly, it would be a great day for some NBA Cup basketball.
I gave you one word. You gave me 2 straight minutes of take. And that's why I knew that you would be good at this.
2.
That was
Give me 2. What's 2? I'll give you another.
All right. Grocery stores.
Yeah. So I was at the grocery store today. I got to say, I think that there are predatory practices happening in the soda aisle right now. So when the pandemic happened, obviously there was a lot of shrinkflation. So where the sizes of things got smaller and they increased the price, and they used the supply chain and all that as an argument as to why they were doing it. It was really a lot of corporate greed. That's neither here nor there. This isn't a political aspect of things. It's just that, hey, we were all getting kind of worked over in the grocery store because it's the one thing we truly needed at that time. And a lot of folks took advantage and profits went up. I'm looking. I don't drink coffee. I'm a prodigious soda drinker. I'm a Coke Zero man through and through. And I used to get Coke Zero in cans. Then the pandemic comes and they go, oh, we don't have aluminum anymore. We can't really do cans. Okay, fair enough. The world's gone to hell. I get it. Stuff isn't going to be there anymore. They clearly have enough aluminum now. I am certain that supply chain is in good standing. And I know that because they kept the price of a 12-pack of Coke Zero or 20-pack or 24-pack. Even at Costco, it's $18 now. It used to be $12. I know that the aluminum is fine because when I go to the Safeway, and I'm usually a Trader Joe's man because I don't need all that. I got to get what I get and get the hell out of there. But when I go to the Safeway, which is right next door, and I go in there, they have coupons for buy 2, get 3 free. Okay? For Coke products, Pepsi products, whatever. So they have no problem whatsoever selling it to you at the original price. But now I got to get a coupon in order to do that. And it's always on sale. It's always on a coupon. Just change the price back to what it was. That's all you're getting from me. And I don't have to go through the hoops. And I'll think higher of you for doing that. But instead, they're going to get some suckers out there who are addicted. And it's an addictive product, no doubt about it. I'm talking about it here. Like, they're going to get some suckers out there who will just pay $11. They'll pay almost $1 a pop can when it used to be 30 cents. And they'll just do it because they didn't see in the corner the coupon. They just buy it and they're willy-nilly. So I got about 3 more hours of material on grocery stores. Just read a book about grocery stores. But let's just set the price where it's at and not have to worry about the extra. Mitch Hedberg had a great joke about the donut. Like, do you want a receipt with the donut? No, I don't need to bring ink and paper into this. I want the same thing to apply for shopping at the grocery store. Why do I need to clip the coupon? You just sell it to me at that price, right? If it's on sale, it's on sale. Why do I need to pull out my app, go onto your crappy Wi-Fi, have an app for your goddamn grocery store? I don't need a grocery store app. When am I going to open that outside of the grocery store? Just make that the price. And if you're giving me buy 2, get 3, clearly you're just price gouging, and that shouldn't be allowed in America.
Dieter Kurtenbach, you can find him. You can read him at Bay Area News Group. Thanks for joining the show.
And now I don't have any Coke Zero, Wes, because I refused. I don't
think you need it. I think you just caffeined yourself up with that rant.
I think I need the wheel. I think I need the wheel to be a full-time segment on KMBR radio with me. I think I'm about to text my producer right now because now you brought it up and I do remember it. And I thought that's genius. and I never implemented it into my life. And Wes, years of my life wasted, I think is what we're going to say right there.
We can hash out more of the wheel. We can actually create a wheel. I'm sure there's an online wheel that can be created of some kind where I'm not just asking you a number.
Yeah.
I
just don't want any coupons when I have to pay you the royalties for it.
That's right. It's been too long. I don't want it to go this long again without talking to you, buddy.
Anytime, Wes. This was I said it was going to be a pleasure and a privilege, and I'm not sure if it was a privilege, but it was absolutely a pleasure.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.